Mohenjo-Daro, in this valley, the buildings turned to glass. The sand turned to glass, and the bodies are still laying in the street right now today, holding hands, never been scavenged by animals.
They had no historical evidence of that. There's no text. It was not mentioned in any books. It was
Really?
Yep. It was found as an accident. They found it by accident.
This is evidence of a nuclear war. That's 3,000 plus degree temperature weapons fire.
They explain how the devastation looks, right? They talk about how high the temperature goes, how it looked like a sun when the explosion happened, how all the vegetation was completely wiped off and there were no plants or trees growing for the next 12 to 25 years.
They describe them as weapons that once released can't be revolted or can't be turned back, and that they will obliterate any area, any city. And they say that one of the weapons can destroy any man on 3 worlds. It's crazy stuff. This is where Oppenheimer got his famous quote when he obviously tested the nuke.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
In the scorching deserts of southern Pakistan lies an archaeological site that defies explanation. A city frozen in time, now shrouded in mystery and the whispers of lost civilizations. Welcome to Mohenjo-Daro. Once a thriving metropolis during the height of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, this city's remains have puzzled researchers for nearly a century. But why does this city, over 4,000 years old, seem to vanish suddenly from history? Could it be that some catastrophic event wiped it off the map? Perhaps even turning parts of it into glass? Discovered in 1922 by an Indian archaeologist, R.D. Banerjee, Mohenjo-Daro is located on the banks of the Indus River. What the world came to learn through its excavations was the stunning complexity of this civilization. At its peak, Mohenjo-Daro housed as many as 40,000 inhabitants. But the real intrigue lies in its infrastructure, a grid-like city layout, advanced water drainage systems, and meticulously built homes made of baked bricks, a city so well organized that it rivals modern urban planning techniques. But who were these people, and what led to their mysterious disappearance? Let's start by looking at what they built. The city is constructed using uniform, fired bricks, with some weighing over 15 pounds. The scale of the city is impressive, spanning more than 300 hectares, roughly the size of 500 football fields. Each house was carefully positioned to align with the cardinal directions. But how did an ancient civilization develop such precision without modern technology? A central structure, known as the Great Bath, is another remarkable feature of Mohenjo-Daro. Measuring 12 meters long and 7 meters wide, the bath is built with watertight bricks and a sophisticated drainage system, indicating that water held immense significance for the people of Mohenjo-Daro. It is one of the earliest public waterworks ever discovered. But what was the purpose of this massive structure? Was it purely for hygiene, or did it have deeper, possibly spiritual, significance? Let's pause to consider the most perplexing discovery. Some sections of the ruins appear to have been subjected to extremely high temperatures, enough to melt or vitrify stone, turning it into glass. This phenomenon is known as vitrification, something typically associated with nuclear explosions or volcanic activity. Yet, no evidence of volcanic activity or natural firestorms has been found in the region. Could it be that some ancient technology, lost to time, was capable of unleashing such destructive energy? Some theorists have gone so far as to suggest that Mohenjo-Daro might have been destroyed by an ancient nuclear explosion. It sounds far-fetched, but the vitrified remains beg for an explanation. But the mysteries don't end there. Among the discoveries were over 40 human skeletons, lying in the streets and various parts of the city. These remains were not buried in the traditional sense, indicating that whatever caused the downfall of Mohenjo-Daro was sudden and violent. Many of these skeletons showed no signs of trauma, yet some were found in postures suggesting they were fleeing from something. What could have caused such mass panic and sudden death? Was it a natural disaster, a catastrophic flood, or perhaps something even more terrifying? Now, consider this. The massive stone blocks and materials used in the city's construction were not native to the immediate region. In fact, some of the stones used in Mohenjo-Daro's construction had to be transported from quarries located over 300 kilometers away. How did they manage to move such enormous stones without the aid of modern machinery? Could they have had access to technologies we still don't fully understand? This comparison often draws parallels to the pyramids of Egypt and the stone structures of South America, where similarly, large stones were transported over great distances. The sheer size and weight of the materials used in these ancient cities challenge our understanding of what was possible in the ancient world. Another fascinating question arises when we consider the precision of Mohenjo-Daro's urban layout. The city's advanced planning and uniformity seem almost out of place in the ancient world. How did a society living over 4,000 years ago manage to create such an organized and structured cityscape without modern surveying tools? It's as though they were working with knowledge that far exceeded their time. Could they have been influenced by some advanced, now forgotten culture? Some theorists have even suggested extraterrestrial intervention, pointing to the similarity between Mohenjo-Daro's design and other mysterious ancient sites across the world. But what happened to this great city? Why was it abandoned so suddenly? While some archaeologists believe that environmental factors such as flooding from the nearby Indus River might have played a role, the evidence of extreme heat and vitrified ruins adds an ominous layer to the mystery. Could the people of Mohenjo-Daro have been the victims of an ancient catastrophe so powerful that it erased them from history almost instantly? As we delve deeper into the mysteries of Mohenjo-Daro, we must also consider the broader context of the Indus Valley civilization. This civilization was one of the largest of the ancient world, spanning parts of modern-day Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan. Yet despite its vast size, we know shockingly little about its people, their language, or their beliefs. Their script remains undeciphered, and their disappearance from history is as sudden as it is puzzling. And what about the artifacts found here? Pottery, jewelry, and even toys have been unearthed, but perhaps the most enigmatic discovery is the so-called dancing girl, a bronze statuette of a young woman that seems to exude a sense of sophistication and artistic flair, far beyond what we would expect from a society of this age. Who was she? What role did she play in this mysterious civilization? Now, what could have caused a thriving civilization to vanish seemingly overnight? Let's begin with the most debated theory, the possibility of an ancient nuclear catastrophe. At first glance, the idea of nuclear technology existing over 4,000 years ago seems impossible. Yet, the vitrified ruins, sections of stone turned to glass by intense heat, suggest that something extraordinary happened here. In the 1970s, physicist Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, who led the Manhattan Project during World War II, was asked if the nuclear bomb tested in 1945 was the world's first atomic explosion. His response was chilling. Well, yes, in modern times. Was he hinting at an ancient nuclear event? Could Mohenjo-Daro have been the site of such an explosion? Adding to the intrigue is the lack of traditional warfare evidence in the city. No mass graves, no clear signs of battle, no damage to the structures that would suggest a large-scale conflict. Instead, the bodies found in the city were seemingly untouched by violence, lying in the streets as though something much more sinister and sudden occurred. Could this have been an accident, a release of untamed energy, or something more deliberate, akin to a weapon of unimaginable power? Then, there's the question of the city's eerie disappearance. Unlike other ancient cities that gradually declined over time, Mohenjo-Daro appears to have been abandoned swiftly, almost as if its inhabitants knew that staying would lead to their demise.
If you have a relatively short time frame to deal with, then searching for a lost civilization becomes much more complex and much more difficult. But if you have a very long time frame to deal with, there's much more material to investigate.
Was the city of Petra always known as Petra? From the Bible, we learn that the oldest name for Petra is Seir.
Beneath the rose-red cliffs of Petra, an ancient city carved into sandstone holds mysteries that have puzzled scientists for centuries.
First organization of human beings that deserve to be called a civilization.
Recent discoveries in this lost city have surprised experts, challenging our understanding of ancient civilizations. As shadows reveal new celestial alignments on the grand facades and columns during the equinox, we are left wondering, what secrets do the stones of Petra still hold?
I don't think we're looking at coincidence here. There's too much going on. I think coincidence is a very weak explanation for what's happening.
The story of Petra, often called the Lost City, stretches back to as early as the 4th century BCE, when it was founded and rose to prominence by the 1st century BCE as the capital of the Nabatean kingdom. Nestled in the cliffs of vibrant red, white, pink and sandstone, Petra was at the heart of a bustling trade empire. Its strategic location on the spice trade routes connected it with far-flung regions from China and India to southern Arabia, and on to Egypt, Syria, Greece and Rome.
You go to Egypt and you'll find influence of the Nabateans. Everywhere we look, we find some reference at some time to the Nabateans.
The city thrived not just commercially but culturally and architecturally, demonstrating advanced techniques in water conservation. Its engineers crafted an intricate system of dams, cisterns and water channels that sustained both the city's population and its agriculture through harsh desert conditions. However, following its annexation by Rome in 106 CE, Petra began to experience a slow decline. Initially, it flourished under Roman influence, but as trade routes shifted towards the sea and devastating earthquakes struck in the 4th and 6th centuries, the city gradually lost its former glory. By the time the Islamic conquests swept through in the 7th century, Petra was reduced to a shadow of its former self, mainly inhabited by a few local Bedouin tribes who lived among the ruins and closely guarded its secrets. Throughout the Middle Ages and well into the 18th century, Petra remained enveloped in obscurity, particularly to the Western world. The Crusaders controlled the region briefly in the 12th century and even established a fortress there, but knowledge of Petra's once grandeur was limited to local tribes and a few knowledgeable Arab scholars. The renowned 14th century explorer Ibn Battuta mentioned Petra during his travels, describing it as a remote place with buildings impressively carved into rock faces. This period in Petra's history mirrors that of another ancient city, Machu Picchu in Peru, which also remained hidden from Western awareness until its rediscovery in 1911 by Hiram Bingham. Both cities were advanced in manipulating their natural environments, Petra with its sophisticated water management systems, and Machu Picchu with its terraced fields and intricate urban planning. The prolonged European ignorance of Petra lasted until the 19th century, with the region fading into the realm of myth and legend. Many in Europe were completely unaware of Petra's existence, despite ancient texts hinting at the architectural marvels that lay hidden in the Jordanian mountains. This mystery persisted until explorers reintroduced Petra to the Western world, bridging the gap between ancient lore and modern recognition. Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, born in 1784, was a Swiss traveler and scholar whose profound curiosity and academic prowess led him to significant contributions towards the Western understanding of lost or lesser-known ancient sites. Mastering multiple languages and immersing himself in various cultures, Burckhardt developed a particular fascination with Petra, an ancient city whose whereabouts had slipped from European knowledge. In preparation for his explorations within the Ottoman Empire, Burckhardt relocated to London in 1806, where he joined the African Association, an organization committed to the exploration and mapping of Africa. He further honed his expertise at Cambridge University, studying Arabic, geography, and the cultures of the Middle East. It was here that he meticulously constructed his alter ego, Sheikh Ibrahim ibn Abdallah. This identity was not just a cover to mask his European roots and exploratory motives, it was a deep dive into cultural assimilation, allowing him safer passage and a more authentic experience in predominantly Muslim territories. Burckhardt's journey to Petra began in 1812, framed as a pilgrimage to sacrifice at the tomb of the prophet Aaron on Mount Hor, which cleverly concealed his true intent to locate and document Petra. He had pieced together clues of the lost city from discussions with local traders and vague references in ancient manuscripts. His travels from Syria to the Arabian Peninsula were fraught with challenges, from regional conflicts to the unforgiving desert landscape, yet his guise as an Islamic scholar provided him crucial cover. Upon his arrival in Petra, Burckhardt was met with the breathtaking view of the Sikh, a narrow gorge stretching over a kilometer, flanked by towering walls as high as 80 meters. This passage led him to Petra's most famous and enigmatic structure, Al-Khazne, or the Treasury. Carved directly into the blush-colored sandstone cliffs, its facade displayed an exquisite blend of Nabatean, Greek, and Roman architectural elements. Petra's entrance, known as the Sikh, is far more than just a gateway. It's an architectural wonder in its own right. This narrow gorge, carved directly from the towering sandstone cliffs, stretches for about 1.2 kilometers and varies in width from a mere 3 to 16 meters. As you walk through, the walls, which soar to heights of over 80 meters, dramatically frame your approach, guiding you towards the heart of Petra, ending at the magnificent Al-Khazne. Along the Sikh, you'll notice a series of ancient water channels, a testament to the Nabateans' advanced hydraulic engineering skills. They devised these systems to capture and conserve the scarce desert rainwater. The strategic narrowness of the Sikh also offered a natural defense mechanism, much like the historic pass of Thermopylae in Greece, providing a fortified barrier against potential invaders. At the end of the Sikh stands Al-Khazne, or the Treasury, which, despite its name, was likely built as a mausoleum or temple around the 1st century CE. This iconic structure is renowned for its stunning facade, decorated with a blend of Hellenistic architectural elements and native Nabatean motifs. It features a grand portico supported by 6 Corinthian columns and is adorned with intricate bas-reliefs, including depictions of Castor and Pollux, twin brothers who were revered in mythology for their role in protection and safety. The urn perched atop the facade fueled local legends, with Bedouins believing it concealed ancient treasures, hence the name the Treasury. This blend of myth and architecture draws parallels to the ornately decorated temples of the Egyptian pharaohs, which were also rich in cultural and mythological significance. Petra's architectural landscape is a rich mosaic of influences, reflecting its historical significance as a cultural and trading hub. The city's structures blend Nabatean rock-cut artistry with classical Greek, Roman, and later Byzantine styles. This fusion is visible not just on the facades but throughout the city's layout, which includes a Roman-style colonnaded street and a theatre capable of holding over 3,000 spectators. Carved directly from the rock, Petra's theatre echoes the design of ancient Greek theatres such as Epidaurus, yet it is uniquely Nabatean in its execution, showcasing their extraordinary skill in stone carving. This architectural diversity highlights the city's role as a melting pot of various civilizations throughout history, each leaving their mark on its stones and streets. Among the monumental structures in Petra, the monastery known as Ad-Dair stands out for its architectural splendor akin to that of the Treasury, yet it occupies a more secluded and solemn location. The journey to reach the monastery is an adventure in itself, involving a challenging climb of over 800 steps carved directly into the rock, which naturally limits the number of casual tourists who visit. Originally constructed as a Nabatean temple in the 3rd century BCE, the structure was later repurposed as a Christian chapel during the Byzantine period. Its facade, adorned with a massive urn and framed by towering columns, rivals the grandeur of the Parthenon in Athens. However, the isolation of the monastery adds a layer of spiritual retreat, contrasting with the civic pride of the Parthenon. Petra's allure as a mysterious and adventurous location was catapulted into popular culture by its appearance in the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The movie features Petra's treasury as the fictional entrance to the final resting place of the Holy Grail, which not only captured the imaginations of viewers worldwide, but also significantly boosted tourism to the site. This depiction in the film perfectly aligned with the themes of discovery and exploration, underscoring how media can dramatically shape the perception and economic realities of archaeological sites.
There's been some developments involving the Richat structure. This site keeps on getting more and more interesting, and the evidence continues to stack that it is by far the most likely location for Atlantis. Now, for those of you who don't think that, if nothing else, I'm here to tell you that the evidence has become more apparent than ever.
The Richat structure, often referred to as the Eye of the Sahara, is one of the most captivating and mysterious geological formations on Earth. Situated in the heart of the Sahara Desert, this massive circular formation has intrigued scientists, explorers, and theorists for decades. Its discovery and subsequent studies have led to a wealth of theories and speculation, reflecting the profound mystery surrounding its origin. Was a massive structure once here that suddenly vanished? Could it have had a massive impact on planet Earth? Or could it be an ancient mining site used by perhaps aliens or another advanced civilization? Could humans have had a role in this mysterious formation? The Richat structure first came to the attention of the scientific community in the 1930s, when French geologist Théodore Monod embarked on an expedition to explore the vast and largely uncharted Sahara Desert. Monod's expedition was primarily focused on geological mapping, but during his travels, he noticed a peculiar circular formation that stood out starkly against the otherwise monotonous landscape of the desert. This structure, visible from higher elevations, appeared as a large bullseye-like pattern in the sand, prompting initial curiosity, but not immediate investigation. It wasn't until the 1960s, during the era of space exploration, that the true scale and nature of the Richat structure were fully appreciated. Astronauts aboard NASA's Gemini 4 mission captured high-resolution images of Earth, including the Sahara Desert, from space. From this vantage point, the structure was clearly visible as a colossal, circular formation stretching across a significant portion of the desert. These images ignited interest within the scientific community, leading to more focused research and exploration. Upon its discovery, the Richat structure's origin was the subject of intense debate and speculation. Its nearly perfect circular shape led many to hypothesize that it was the result of a meteorite impact, as such craters often exhibit similar features. However, as scientists began to study the structure more closely, they realized that the truth was far more complex and mysterious. One of the most striking aspects of the Richat structure is its size. The formation spans approximately 40 kilometers in diameter, making it visible from space and one of the most prominent geological features in the Sahara Desert. To put this into perspective, the structure is roughly equivalent in size to the city of Paris or the entire area of New York City. This immense size, coupled with its nearly perfect concentric rings, added to the mystery and allure of the structure, leading to numerous theories and speculations. Its size is so immense that it can only be fully appreciated from high altitude or space, where it appears as a giant bullseye in the vastness of the Sahara Desert. Detailed geological studies eventually debunked the meteorite impact theory. There was no evidence of the high-pressure minerals, such as shocked quartz, that are typically associated with impact events. Instead, researchers determined that the Richat structure was a deeply eroded geologic dome composed of different layers of sedimentary rock that had been exposed over millions of years. The concentric rings were found to be the result of differential erosion, where harder rock layers resisted erosion more effectively than softer layers, creating the distinct bullseye pattern visible today. The Richat structure's unique geology offers several fascinating insights into Earth's distant past. The structure is composed of Proterozoic sedimentary rock, which is estimated to be over 2.5 billion years old, making it one of the oldest geological formations on the planet. The central part of the structure is composed of Ordovician rocks, which are about 480 million years old. This wide range of geological ages provides a window into the Earth's early history, offering valuable clues about the geological processes that shaped the Sahara region. One of the most visually striking aspects of the Richat structure is its resemblance to a human eye when viewed from space, a feature that has earned it the nickname Eye of the Sahara. The formation's circular shape, combined with its concentric rings, gives the impression of an eye gazing out from the desert. a phenomenon that has captured the imagination of many and contributed to its mystical aura. While the idea that the Richat structure was created by a meteorite impact has been discredited, the exact process behind its formation remains a subject of scientific debate. The most widely accepted theory suggests that the structure is the result of a volcanic eruption that never fully breached the Earth's surface. According to this theory, magma from deep within the Earth began to push upwards, creating a domed uplift in the overlying sedimentary rock layers. However, instead of forming a volcano, the magma cooled and solidified below the surface, leading to the gradual collapse of the dome. Over millions of years, erosion exposed the concentric rings that are visible today. Another theory posits that the Richat structure could have been formed by hydrothermal activity. This process involves the circulation of hot water through rock layers, causing chemical alterations that can lead to the formation of circular patterns. Although less widely accepted than the volcanic theory, it remains a possibility that some scientists continue to explore. The formation of the Richat structure is also believed to be connected to the tectonic activity that shaped the Sahara region. The Sahara Desert, though largely flat today, was once a much more dynamic landscape, influenced by the movement of tectonic plates. The structure may represent the remnants of a much larger geological process that occurred when the African continent was still undergoing significant tectonic upheaval. The immense size and complexity of the Richat structure make the idea of human construction seem highly improbable. Spanning a diameter of 40 kilometers, with rings that are perfectly concentric and several kilometers wide, the structure would have required an immense amount of labor, advanced engineering knowledge, and a purpose that remains difficult to conceive. Additionally, there is no evidence of human activity or artifacts that would suggest the structure was man-made. However, some fringe theories have suggested that the Richat structure could have been an ancient construction, possibly by a lost civilization. These theories are often linked to the legend of Atlantis, the mythical city described by Plato. Proponents of this theory argue that the structure's size, shape, and location correspond to descriptions of Atlantis, leading them to speculate that it could be the remains of this legendary city. This theory has gained traction in recent years, fueled by the structure's circular shape, size, and location in the Sahara Desert. The theory suggests that the Richat structure could be the remains of Atlantis, as described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. Plato's dialogues describe Atlantis as a powerful and advanced civilization that existed around 9,000 years before his time. He depicted it as a large island, divided into concentric rings of land and water, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which is commonly associated with the Strait of Gibraltar. Proponents of the Atlantis theory argue that the Richat structure's concentric rings closely match Plato's description, and its location in the Sahara Desert could correspond to the island's destruction and subsequent desertification. Establishing the age of the Richat structure has been a complex task due to the varied composition of its geological layers. However, scientists have been able to estimate its age based on the ages of the rocks that make up its various layers. The central part of the structure is composed of Ordovician rocks, approximately 500 million years old, while the outer layers are made up of even older Proterozoic rocks, dating back more than 2.5 billion years. The age of the structure has been roughly determined through radiometric dating, a technique that measures the decay of radioactive isotopes in rocks to determine their age. By analyzing the different layers of rock within the structure, scientists have pieced together a timeline of its formation, revealing that the structure is one of the oldest geological formations on Earth. The Richat structure's resemblance to a human eye when viewed from space has led to various symbolic interpretations. Some theorists propose that the structure was designed by an ancient civilization to serve as a signal or marker, visible from great distances, possibly even to extraterrestrial beings. This idea taps into the broader theme of ancient astronaut theories, which suggest that advanced civilizations or extraterrestrial visitors played a role in shaping Earth's history. The region surrounding the structure is not devoid of interest, both geologically and archaeologically. The Sahara Desert, though largely inhospitable today, was once a lush and fertile region, home to ancient human civilizations and a diverse array of flora and fauna. Evidence of ancient river systems, now long dried up, has been found throughout the Sahara, indicating that it was once a much more habitable environment. While the most widely accepted theory is that the Richat structure is a natural geological formation, the lack of definitive evidence for its origin has led to various alternative theories. Some suggest that the structure could be the remnants of a massive ancient caldera, the result of a supervolcano that once existed in the region. This theory posits that the structure was formed by a massive volcanic eruption that collapsed the magma chamber, creating the concentric rings seen today. However, this theory is not widely supported, as there is no evidence of volcanic rock or ash in the area. Another theory proposes that the Richat structure could have been a site of ancient mining activity. The circular shape and concentric rings could have resulted from systematic mining operations, where different layers of rock were removed over time. However, there is no archaeological evidence to support this theory, and it is unlikely that ancient peoples would have had the technology or resources to undertake such a massive project. While these ideas are largely speculative, they highlight the enduring fascination with the Richat structure and its potential significance in human history.
Like many travelers before me, I too have reached the gates of Timbuktu. Timbuktu the mysterious, Timbuktu the holder of secrets, Timbuktu the center of knowledge. Timbuktu was one of the wonders of the ancient world. It was a type of Shangri-La or Atlantis. People thought that there was a land beyond the deserts of the Sahara where gold lined the streets, and it was a type of sumptuous kingdom.
Beneath the scorching sun and swirling sands of the Sahara Desert lies a city whose very name invokes mystery and wonder, Timbuktu. Once a beacon of trade, knowledge, and wealth, today it is known by few, understood by even fewer. Yet, Timbuktu is not just a relic of the past. It is a testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth. But how did this fabled city come to be? How could a thriving center of wealth and knowledge emerge in the heart of a seemingly inhospitable desert?
Timbuktu has different phases within its existence, and all of the groups participated in the different phases of development.
Our journey begins in the early 14th century, during the reign of the Malian emperor Mansa Musa. His wealth was so immense that his pilgrimage to Mecca reportedly devalued gold in regions he passed through. Yet Musa's most enduring legacy was not his riches, it was the flourishing of Timbuktu, a city destined to become a hub for commerce and scholarship. The first mystery of Timbuktu, however, lies not in its origin, but in what was discovered centuries later. In the early 19th century, European explorers, lured by tales of an elusive golden city, crossed the Sahara in search of wealth. What they found, instead, was an ancient city built from colossal blocks of stone and mud brick. Structures like the Jingwerebbe Mosque and Sankore University stood as monumental testaments to human craftsmanship, their towers defying the desert's harsh elements for centuries. The first question emerges here: how were these structures built? Some of the stones used in Timbuktu's buildings weighed up to 2 tons and were transported from quarries more than 30 miles away. Modern engineers remain puzzled by how this was achieved without advanced machinery. How could ancient builders move such massive stones across the unforgiving landscape of the Sahara? Did they possess knowledge that modern civilization has lost? This mystery is the first clue to Timbuktu's mysterious past. An engineering prowess seemingly out of place in a desert that by all accounts should have made such construction impossible.
They found that there were these actually very, very sophisticated, very complex mud brick structures on a very large scale.
But as we look deeper into Timbuktu's history, we discover something even more astonishing. By the 15th century, Timbuktu had become a thriving intellectual hub, housing some of the greatest libraries in the world. Manuscripts covering subjects such as astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and law were studied and preserved here. Scholars from across the Islamic world traveled to this remote city, transforming it into a center of learning that rivaled some of the greatest educational institutions of the time. And yet, one question lingers. How did such an intellectual center thrive in a place so isolated?
It became an intellectual center because the scholars generally were traveling with the caravans.
Was it simply Timbuktu's strategic location along trade routes, or could there be something more? Some researchers believe that Timbuktu's placement precisely at the edge of the Sahara and along the Niger River may have held deeper significance. Could ancient civilizations have chosen this location based on an advanced understanding of geography or even astronomy? A provocative theory suggests that Timbuktu might lie on one of the Earth's natural energy pathways, ley lines, that have been revered by ancient cultures across the world. Could its success as a city of knowledge and wealth have been linked to its placement on one of these energy nodes? As we ponder these questions, another mystery unfolds. Recent discoveries have revealed that many of the original manuscripts from Timbuktu's libraries, some dating back over 700 years, are missing. Where did they go? Were they destroyed or were they stolen? Whispers of a conspiracy emerge here, an organized effort perhaps by European colonial powers to seize and suppress Timbuktu's ancient knowledge. Some believe the manuscripts were hidden by local scholars to protect them from invaders, and that their secrets remain buried, known only to a select few. Today, historians and treasure hunters alike search for these lost manuscripts, hoping to unlock the wisdom they contain. But this brings us to an even greater mystery. What exactly was in these manuscripts? Could they have contained knowledge that the world wasn't ready for? Advanced technologies or philosophies that challenged the dominant worldviews of their time?
I want to know what else is going to be found that hasn't been investigated yet at all. We're just touching the edge of a huge mystery.
Were these manuscripts lost to history or intentionally kept from the world? As we explore these questions, we are reminded that Timbuktu's story is not just about the past. It is a cautionary tale about the fragility of human progress. What knowledge have we, as a civilization, lost over the millennia? Could the lost wisdom of Timbuktu have changed the course of human history? As we dive deeper into the story of Timbuktu, an unsettling thought begins to emerge. What if the true wealth of this city was not in gold, but in knowledge? And what if that knowledge was too dangerous for the world to possess? Timbuktu's scholars compiled manuscripts on topics ranging from astronomy to medicine, from theology to mathematics. By the 15th century, Timbuktu housed an estimated 700,000 manuscripts, forming one of the largest intellectual archives of the time. But here's where the mystery deepens. Much of this vast collection has vanished. Entire libraries were raided, collections disappeared, and even today, many manuscripts remain unaccounted for. Some of the surviving texts mention ideas that seem far ahead of their time, such as advanced mathematical concepts and detailed astronomical observations. There are even cryptic references to knowledge of the cosmos that surpasses what we believed was understood in the 14th and 15th centuries. Could it be that Timbuktu's scholars possessed knowledge far beyond what we know today? And if so, who or what was responsible for the suppression of this information? Some researchers point to the colonial history of Africa. As European powers began their conquest of the continent in the 19th century, they systematically dismantled much of the region's cultural heritage. And there are rumors that the French in particular seized many manuscripts from Timbuktu and shipped them back to Europe. Others suggest that these texts were deliberately hidden or destroyed because they contained information that could challenge the scientific revolution taking place in Europe. The truth remains elusive, but what we do know is that Timbuktu's intellectual legacy has only been partially uncovered. Many of the remaining manuscripts are locked away in private collections, deteriorating from neglect. Could these hidden texts hold the answers to the mysteries that still surround Timbuktu? But the intrigue does not end with the manuscripts. Archaeologists working in the region have uncovered ruins of other ancient cities near Timbuktu, suggesting the area was part of a larger, interconnected civilization. Some of the stones used in Timbuktu's structures weigh several tons and were transported from quarries miles away. How could these feats of engineering have been accomplished without modern machinery? And could there be a connection between the builders of Timbuktu and the ancient Egyptians? Adding to the mystery, some of these structures remain unfinished, as though the builders abruptly stopped their work. Why would a city so rich in knowledge and wealth suddenly fall into decline? Environmental changes may provide part of the answer. As the Sahara continued to expand, trade routes shifted, and the resources that once sustained Timbuktu dwindled. But others suggest that external forces may have played a role. Some theorists argue that jealous foreign powers or even secret societies conspired to bring about the city's downfall. One of the most persistent theories involves the lost riches of Timbuktu. According to legend, Mansa Musa's wealth wasn't only in gold. He may have possessed ancient artifacts and manuscripts from a forgotten civilization. Some believe that these treasures remain hidden beneath the city, waiting to be discovered. Could Timbuktu's greatest secret be something far more valuable than gold? As we conclude our journey, one thing is clear: Timbuktu's mysteries are far from solved. What knowledge was lost, and why? What still lies hidden beneath centuries of sand and secrecy? Recent efforts to preserve Timbuktu's heritage have been met with both success and challenge. Instability in the region and the harsh desert climate threaten the remnants of the city's once great libraries. Yet, new archaeological techniques such as ground-penetrating radar have revealed that entire sections of the city may still be buried. Could these hidden chambers hold the answers to the questions we've been seeking? Or could they contain even greater secrets? Secrets that could reshape our understanding of history, civilization, and the very nature of knowledge.
To people who aren't aware, there's a location in the Western Sahara Desert of Mauritania called the Richat structure. It's also commonly referred to as the Eye of the Sahara. And what's so spectacular about this is that it just so happens to match more than a dozen striking similarities to what Plato had described as the lost ancient capital city of Atlantis.
Have you ever heard of the Eye of the Sahara? Officially known as the Richat structure, this geological wonder is something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Because archaeologists roll their eyes every time you say the word Atlantis. But that is precisely the date that Plato gives for the destruction of Atlantis.
Picture this: a giant, almost circular dome sprawling 40 kilometers across the Sahara. So massive it's visible from space, but it's not just its size that's mind-blowing. The Richat structure's beauty lies in its complexity, especially its mesmerizing concentric rings. These rings aren't your regular circles. They're like fingerprints, each one unique in width, composition, and how time and the elements have worn them down. It's as if nature itself was playing architect, crafting a masterpiece over millions of years through erosion.
It is a site that most people have never seen or heard of before, which is truly peculiar because it's so spectacular.
Wind and water have sculpted this dome layer by layer, revealing a range of rings that tell a story of resilience and transformation. Now let's delve into what makes up this stunning structure.
And what I'm focusing on is the lost capital city, which was said to be made up of concentric circles, 3 of water, 2 of land, which matches the Richat structure.
The outermost rings boast Proterozoic quartzite, a rock so tough and ancient it's been around for over 600 million years. Imagine that. Quartzite starts off as sandstone and undergoes a metamorphosis with heat and pressure, emerging as this incredibly hard rock. Move inward, and the materials shift to softer, sedimentary rocks like limestone, which forms in marine environments, and sandstone, composed of tiny mineral grains. At the heart of the Richat structure, there's a fascinating mix called siliceous breccia, essentially a jumble of angular rock fragments bonded together, often found in volcanic areas or places with a lot of geological action. The Richat structure is not just a feast for the eyes, it's a geologist's dream. The variety of rock types and the formation's history offer a rare glimpse into the Earth's geological processes. When you dive into the origins of the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, you're essentially unpacking a geological mystery that's been in the making for millions of years. At the heart of this mystery is the uplifted dome theory, which geologists lean towards when explaining how this stunning feature came to be. Imagine the Earth's crust getting a gentle nudge from below, creating a bulge on the surface. Over eons, wind and water went to work on this dome, chiseling away at it. But here's the catch: not all rocks are made the same. Some are tougher, others are softer, so they didn't all erode at the same pace. This selective erosion crafted the Richat structure's iconic concentric rings, each layer telling a story of resilience and time. But wait, there's a twist in the tale thanks to Jimmy Corsetti.
The question becomes, is it big enough to be a city with possibly millions of people? Because the way it was described is that it was a city that was said to be busy all day, all night, rich in trade, with languages spoken from all over.
He floats a rather intriguing idea that maybe, just maybe, ancient humans had a hand in sculpting the Richat structure. While this leans more towards speculation, it's a fascinating thought that adds a pinch of mystery to an already captivating story. Now let's talk about the Sahara Desert, the Richat structure's vast, arid home. This desert environment, with its relentless wind erosion, has been a key player in shaping the structure. But remember, the Sahara wasn't always a desert.
And what people don't realize is that Sahara Africa, up until about 4,500 to 5,000 years ago, was totally green.
It has seen its fair share of climatic roller coasters over millions of years, each phase leaving its mark on the rate and style of erosion at the site. The rocks at the Richat structure are ancient historians, some dating back over 600 million years, offering a glimpse into the Earth's early days, continental drifts, and the dawn of life. The creation of the Richat structure wasn't an overnight affair. It was a marathon of geological activity, from the shifting of tectonic plates to the whims of climate change, all contributing to the structure's unique appearance. Erosion played the role of the sculptor, methodically revealing the different layers of rock beneath. One of the most striking aspects of the Richat structure is its near-perfect circular pattern, a feature so distinctive that astronauts use it as a space landmark.
Even if you went to Mauritania, so you could see this from space, astronauts use it as a locator, and they weren't really familiar or aware of it until the Gemini missions in the early 1960s.
It's a mesmerizing pattern that stands out in the vastness of the Sahara. Plato's tales of Atlantis, nestled within his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, really do spark the imagination, don't they? Written in the 4th century BC, at a time when Athens was basking in its golden era of philosophy and culture, Plato wasn't just any philosopher. He was a master of exploring deep concepts about society, ethics, and the nature of reality itself. Through these dialogues, it's like he's engaging in a spirited chat, using his characters to weave through various ideas and viewpoints. Then there's Atlantis, this mythical island city that Plato claimed existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we commonly associate with the Strait of Gibraltar today. He didn't hold back on the details, portraying Atlantis as a gargantuan landmass, outstripping the size of Libya and Asia put together. The description of its layout is nothing short of fascinating, featuring a series of concentric rings of land and sea that would have required an extraordinary feat of engineering to construct, with its elaborate canals and bridges. At the core of Atlantis was its fertile central plain, a farmer's dream, encircled by towering mountains that offered both a wealth of resources and a natural fortress. But the allure of Atlantis extended beyond its geography. Plato painted a picture of a city flush with resources and technological prowess, boasting an abundance of metals like the enigmatic orichalcum, alongside gold and silver. The infrastructure was ahead of its time, complete with sophisticated water systems, majestic temples, grand palaces, and bustling docks. Yet Atlantis was more than its physical attributes. Plato envisioned a society with a rich tapestry of laws, traditions, and governance, underpinned by a formidable military might. However, as the narrative unfolds, Atlantis transitions from a utopian exemplar to a cautionary tale of corruption and decline, ultimately leading to its downfall. This story, layered with intricate details and moral undertones, continues to captivate and fuel the imagination, a testament to Plato's enduring legacy. While there's a resemblance to Plato's Atlantis, the geographical settings throw us for a loop. The Richat structure sits in the heart of the Sahara, far from the Atlantic Ocean, where Atlantis was said to be.
But another little detail that most people aren't aware of, because they think of Atlantis like, oh, it must be at the bottom of the ocean. Well, that's not exactly how Plato worded it. Like, a lot of people see the Sahara Desert, and they don't realize that this place was unbelievably different than it is today.
This discrepancy hasn't stopped theorists from suggesting that perhaps the Sahara's landscape was vastly different in the past, possibly even near water, or more hospitable than today's arid expanse. The Eye of the Sahara isn't just a geological wonder, It's a treasure trove of archaeological finds that shed light on ancient human life. Stone tools scattered around the area, including arrowheads, scrapers, and axes, tell tales of hunting and crafting. Pottery fragments whisper secrets of domestic life, indicating a significant leap in cultural and technological evolution. But it's the remnants of potential permanent settlements that really pique our curiosity, suggesting that this wasn't merely a waypoint for nomads, but a home for a settled community. The rock art adorning cliff faces and cave interiors near the Richat structure is nothing short of mesmerizing. These paintings and engravings, featuring animals like antelopes and elephants, transport us to a time when the Sahara thrived with life. Human figures and abstract designs depicted in these artworks offer glimpses into the social, cultural, and possibly spiritual lives of these ancient peoples. The rock art adorning cliff faces and cave interiors near the Richat structure is nothing short of mesmerizing. These archaeological discoveries are not just remnants of a bygone era, they're pieces of a puzzle that help us piece together the story of human existence and evolution in the Sahara. They speak of adaptation and resilience in the face of climatic shifts that transformed a once lush region into the vast desert we see today. The prospect of permanent settlements, while still under investigation, opens new chapters in the story of African prehistory, enriching our understanding of early human societies on this diverse continent. It's a testament to the power of the past, and how even the smallest clues can illuminate the vast tapestry of human history.
I mean, it's just crazy. We've talked about, alternative theories to how the pyramids were built.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept that the Great Pyramid was largely completed by the ancient Egyptians. But remember that the ancient Egyptians tell us in many of their texts that everything they knew was a legacy. It was all an inheritance of the gods, and I don't construe the gods as aliens.
When we think of pyramids, our minds immediately journey to Egypt. The towering Giza Plateau, with its majestic stone structures, has long captured the world's fascination. But what if we told you that Egypt didn't build the first pyramids? Long before the sands of the Sahara surrounded the grand monuments of the pharaohs, a lesser-known civilization to the south built pyramids that have stood for millennia. Today, these mysterious structures quietly guard their ancient secrets. This is the story of Meroe, an ancient city in the heart of modern-day Sudan, where the first man-made pyramids may have risen and where we begin to unravel a mystery that challenges everything we thought we knew about ancient history. Let us set the scene. We are not in Egypt, but in the vast expanse of the Sudanese desert. Here, nestled in a stark, arid landscape, lie over 200 pyramids, concentrated in a city that once rivaled the grandeur of any ancient Egyptian metropolis. This city is Meroe, the capital of the powerful kingdom of Kush, a civilization that flourished for nearly 1,000 years. But Meroe's legacy is far more than a simple footnote in Egyptian history. It's a place where the lines between myth, architecture, and human achievement blur into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of antiquity. Our modern awareness of Meroe began in the 19th century, when European explorers ventured into the Sudanese desert. In 1821, they uncovered these stunning pyramids, which had been hidden for centuries beneath the sands. The explorers found a cluster of pyramids, some grand and towering, others smaller and more modest, yet all steeply angled with narrow bases, distinctly different from the broad, sloping forms of Egyptian pyramids. And while Egypt's pyramids were grand tombs for pharaohs, Meroe's served a different purpose. They were built for nobles and royals alike. But when exactly were these pyramids built, and why? Archaeologists determined that Meroe's pyramids were constructed between 300 BCE and 350 CE, during a time when the Kingdom of Kush was a powerful force in Africa. This makes Meroe's pyramids younger than Egypt's Old Kingdom pyramids, but their purpose and design remain equally as fascinating. Many scholars theorize that Meroe's architectural style was influenced by earlier structures from the region, potentially dating back even further. Transporting the massive stones used to build these pyramids was no small feat. Some of the stones were quarried from sites over 25 miles away and weighed several tons. How could an ancient civilization lacking modern tools and technology achieve such monumental tasks? The logistics of transporting and constructing these structures in an unforgiving desert environment continue to puzzle researchers. To put this in perspective, the Great Pyramid of Giza contains stones weighing up to 80 tons, whereas the largest pyramid at Meroe, the Pyramid of Amenishaketo, used stones weighing between 1 and 2 tons. While lighter, these stones were no less challenging to transport, raising questions about how these ancient builders accomplished such feats. What's more intriguing is that Meroe's pyramids were built in a different context than those of Egypt. While Egyptian pyramids served as grand burial tombs for kings and pharaohs, the pyramids at Meroe were constructed for a broader group of nobles, queens, and princes. But why did the people of Meroe embrace pyramid building at all? Inside the tombs of Meroe, archaeologists found a remarkable fusion of Egyptian and African symbolism. Hieroglyphics and carvings covered the walls, but the faces depicted were distinctly African, signifying a culture that blended Egyptian influences with its own deep-rooted identity. Meroe wasn't merely a reflection of Egypt, it was a civilization that commanded power and respect in its own right. Stretching over 600 miles along the Nile, the kingdom of Kush became a dominant force in trade and culture across northeast Africa. Yet the pyramids of Meroe raise more questions than they answer. Why, after centuries of success, did the kingdom of Kush turn to pyramid building? Some scholars believe these pyramids were intended to strengthen Meroe's political and spiritual power, symbolizing divine kingship and cementing the kingdom's claim to leadership in the region. Others argue that they served as a tribute to Egyptian influences, while the most radical theory suggests that Meroe may have been the true originator of pyramid building. Let's consider this possibility. Recent archaeological evidence has revealed older, smaller pyramid-like structures in Sudan, dating as far back as the 8th century BCE, long before the construction of Egypt's famous monuments. These burial mounds, known as tumuli, could have evolved into the grand pyramids we see at Meroe today. Could it be that Egypt's most iconic structures were influenced by the Kushites rather than the other way around? It's a theory that challenges the traditional narrative of history, suggesting that Meroe's civilization may have pioneered innovations long before their Egyptian neighbors. As we dig deeper into the sands of history, the mysteries surrounding Meroe's pyramids only grow. Could the origins of pyramid building lie not in Egypt, but in this forgotten kingdom to the south? Meroe was more than just a city of pyramids, it was a thriving center of industry and trade with remarkable advancements that rivaled many other ancient civilizations. One of Meroe's most significant achievements was its mastery of ironworking. Scattered across the landscape, archaeologists have uncovered iron furnaces, a testament to a sophisticated industry that flourished long before many other ancient civilizations had harnessed such technology. This begs the question, how did the kingdom of Kush develop these advanced techniques? Some believe that the iron was used to forge weapons, providing the Kushite warriors with a formidable edge in battle. Others argue that Meroe's iron was used for agricultural tools, enabling the cultivation of vast swathes of fertile land along the Nile, and allowing the kingdom to sustain its growing population. But perhaps the most intriguing theory suggests that Meroe's iron products were traded far and wide, reaching the Mediterranean and perhaps even India, indicating that this kingdom played a central role in the ancient global economy. Equally fascinating is Meroe's sophisticated water management system. Archaeologists have discovered an elaborate network of reservoirs and dams that allowed the people of Meroe to control the seasonal floodwaters of the Nile, ensuring a stable supply of water for agriculture. This level of engineering sophistication was far ahead of its time, surpassing even some of the water management techniques used in Egypt. Could it be that Meroe, not Egypt, held the key to ancient water engineering? And how much of this knowledge was passed down or lost over the centuries? But not all of Meroe's mysteries come from clear evidence. Some of the most tantalizing questions remain shrouded in conspiracy and speculation. One popular theory suggests that Meroe's decline was not a result of natural collapse but of deliberate sabotage. After the Romans conquered Egypt, could they have seen Meroe as a threat? Did they systematically erase this powerful kingdom from history to secure their dominance over the Nile region? This theory becomes even more intriguing when we consider the state of the pyramids themselves. Unlike the carefully maintained pyramids of Egypt, the pyramids of Meroe were intentionally defaced. Their smooth limestone casing was stripped away, leaving them exposed to the harsh desert winds. But who did this? and why? Was it Roman forces seeking to obliterate Meroe's legacy, or was there an internal conflict that led to the destruction of these grand monuments? Then there are whispers of a lost treasure buried within the pyramids, a fortune that has yet to be discovered. But perhaps the most valuable treasure Meroe has to offer is not gold or jewels, but knowledge. The understanding of an ancient world that continues to challenge everything we thought we knew about history. The pyramids of Meroe may not be as famous as the pyramids of Giza, but they are more numerous and cover a broader landscape that once teemed with life and activity. The construction techniques, while different, display an ingenuity that rivals that of Egypt's builders. And while Egypt's pyramids were built for a select few god kings, Meroe's were designed for a wider range of society, reflecting a more diverse and inclusive social structure. Mystery, intrigue, and a lost civilization waiting to be rediscovered. This is the true legacy of Meroe. As the sands continue to shift over the ancient city, they may one day reveal even more secrets about this extraordinary civilization. Could it be that Meroe, not Egypt, is where the story of pyramids and so much more truly began?